a worn suitcase, and a lifetime of regrets. Years earlier, I had been a clerk in a shipping office in Boston. Respected, reliable, and visible. I worked hard. I paid my bills. And like many men of my generation, I believed loyalty would be rewarded. It wasn't. The company collapsed. My savings vanished. And my marriage ended quietly. Without drama, and without forgiveness. By the time I stepped onto the streets of London, I was tired in a way sleep could never fix. For 2 days I walked without food. Pride is a strange thing. It keeps a man standing, long after his strength is gone. On the third morning, hunger finally defeated dignity. I stood near a bakery, watching people eat, as if food were guaranteed forever. A half-eaten roll lay on the pavement nearby. I stared at it for a long moment. Then I looked away. That was when a voice called out from above. "Sir, would you step inside for a moment?" I turned. Behind me stood a tall house with wide windows. Before I could answer, a servant opened the door. Inside, warmth surrounded me. It felt unreal. 2 elderly gentlemen sat at a table, their tea untouched. Their eyes studied me, not unkindly, but with sharp interest. They asked questions. Where was I from? Was I honest? Was I alone? I answered simply. I had nothing to hide. At last, one of them handed me an envelope. "Do not open this here," he said calmly. "Go to your hotel. Read it carefully. Then return in 30 days. Before I could protest, the servant guided me back outside. The door closed. I stood there, confused and faint with hunger. I walked to the nearest cafe and opened the envelope. Inside was a single banknote. I stared at it, certain my eyes were lying. £1,000,000. My hands began to shake. No signature. No explanation. Just a fortune printed on fragile paper. 10 minutes earlier, I had been poor. Now, I held more money than I could imagine spending in a lifetime. But one thought froze my blood. What kind of trouble comes with money like this? I did not yet understand that the note was not a gift, but a test, and that my real struggle was only beginning.
Part 2. A rich man with no money is discovering that having money and using money are 2 very different things. That afternoon I ordered a modest meal and handed the cafe owner the banknote. His smile vanished. He stared at the paper, as though it might explode. "I can't change this," he whispered. "No one can." Instead of anger, I received respect. Instead of suspicion, admiration. The meal was suddenly free. I was invited back any time. That was when I realized the strange power of the note. It could buy everything, except change. Word traveled quickly. Tailors offered me suits on credit. Hotels welcomed me without payment. Shopkeepers bowed, apologized, and refused my money entirely. I lived comfortably, without spending a single pound. Yet at night, alone in a fine hotel room, fear kept me awake. If the note was questioned, I could lose everything. If it was lost, I would be ruined. I finally read the letter. It said only this: I was to keep the note for 30 days. If I survived, without starving or being arrested, a great reward awaited me. It was a bet. 2 wealthy men had gambled on my survival. I was not a guest. I was an experiment. Still, at my age, opportunity is rare. So I played my part carefully. I dressed well, lived modestly, and spoke politely, or so I thought. London had other plans. The newspapers began calling me the mysterious American millionaire. People watched me. Some admired me. Some doubted me. None understood me. And then, one evening, I met a woman who changed everything. Pause. Until that night, the £1,000,000 note was only paper. After that night, it became a promise and a danger.
Part 3. The woman who saw the truth. Does not rush. It studies. It waits. And then it arrives quietly. Her name was Eleanor. She was widowed, intelligent, and unimpressed by wealth. We met at a small dinner hosted by the American consul. Others spoke to me because of the note. She spoke to me because of my eyes. I told her the truth. All of it. The bet, the note, the fear. She laughed, not mockingly, but warmly. For the first time, she said, "Someone is honest with me." In her presence, I felt younger, not foolishly young, but steady. hopeful. Still, time pressed on. 10 days remained. Then an old acquaintance appeared. A businessman desperate to sell mining shares. He needed credibility. And now, I had a name. Together we used reputation instead of money. The shares sold, legitimately, profitably. For the first time, I earned money honestly, while holding money I could not touch. When the 30th day arrived, I returned to the house. The two gentlemen were waiting. I handed back the note, but I had something far more valuable. To show them, Part 4, the bet is revealed. Some men bet on horses, others bet on cards. These men had bet on human nature. They examined the note. Perfect condition. You survived, one said quietly, and without corruption. I showed them proof of my earnings. Legitimate. Hard won. They were astonished. You may choose any position, one offered. Any salary? I looked at Eleanor. I don't want a job, I said. I want a life. Laughter filled the room. The truth emerged. Eleanor was family. The bet had never been cruel, only curious. The £1,000,000 note returned to the bank. But my life did not return to what it was. Boss, what that note truly bought was not wealth, but a second chance. Part 5. What the note really bought. Money fades. Character remains. I married Eleanor quietly. I paid every debt. I invested carefully. And I lived simply. The £1,000,000 note hangs framed in our home. Not as a trophy, but as a reminder. It taught me this. A poor man given money is tested. A rich man without character is exposed. But an honest man, given opportunity, can change his destiny. Final pause. That note only bought one thing in its entire existence. The most valuable thing of all, a life worth living.